Today we're going to compare the Yeti versus the RTIC. Now most of you guys have heard of the Yeti, so have I. My friends don't stop talking about them. They're like, you got to get a Yeti, bro. They keep your ice for like 30,000 years. Seems a little excessive, but I decided I was intrigued. So I went online, I looked up the Yeti. It was $40. I said, I want a cup, but not that bad. So I did a little research and I saw that there's another brand called RTIC that is half the price at $20. I went ahead and got it in the mail. I said, this is actually working the same way my friends described theirs working. I was actually pretty happy, but I'm a curious person. So I went ahead and bought a Yeti as well. I had to know the difference. So today we're going to go through the pros and cons of each. So let's get into it. So I did a performance test. I took both cups. I filled them with ice. I filled them with cold water. And I took the temperatures of both. They both measured in at 28 degrees exactly. So they're identical to start off with. I placed them in my car. Now I live in Florida, so it gets pretty hot. And they sat there for over 6 hours. I came back. As you can tell, they both still had ice after 6 hours. And I took them inside, and they actually still both showed 28 degrees. So right away, just from a pure performance, they both are identical to me. They both kept ice pretty much the same amount, and the drink is still cold. So now let's go through some of the physical features of each cup. The Yeti honestly feels great in the hand. It looks great. The RTIC, I'm not saying they copied Yeti, but they definitely were inspired. They look very similar. But if you break it down to the tops and bottoms, we'll go to the bottoms first, you can tell the Yeti has more of a tapered finish, where the RTIC starts off pretty flat. Now, why I bring that up is I drive a truck and my cup holders are removable. The Yeti will go into my cup holder and come out fairly easy, where the RTIC did get stuck and the cup holder will come out with the cup holder still attached to the bottom. I could wiggle it to get it out, but still, if I'm just going from a pure cup holder standpoint, I mean, the Yeti definitely won out there for me. So let's go through a comparison of the tops. As you can tell just from a quick look, the Yeti and the RTIC definitely look similar. But if you actually took the lids off, the Yeti doesn't have a little bit more thicker material they use, and as far as compared to the RTIC here, it actually looks a little more girthier, a little more beefier, and it feels a tiny bit heavier. Now I notice when you put the lids back on, the Yeti definitely takes more force to get it back on. You feel the suction kind of pulling it down, whereas the RTIC goes on much easier and quicker. The reason I bring this up is from a sound perspective. If you tapped on the Yeti lid, it sounds pretty solid, where if you tap on the RTIC lid, it has more of that tinge to it. So I just think it sounds a little bit more looser fitting, but from a water perspective, if you fill them both up and tilt them over, the lid's not going to fall off or anything like that. And from a drinking perspective, it's not leaking, so it's just more of a sound thing. Now, one advantage I would say the RTIC has is for $5 extra, you can get this lid, which has basically a toggling lid. So this is when you're drinking on, drinking off. So from a hot coffee perspective, it's not going to splash in your face. With this lid on right here, it's very simple. You're ready to go. You're ready to travel. So if you're out in a vehicle and it's definitely you're out off-roading or something like that, or on the boat, it's probably a smarter lid to have, less chance of splashing going on. One cool feature, if you happen to buy both, like me, if you want to use your Yeti for whatever reason, they definitely are interchangeable, looks like. So they both fit on each other, which is, once again, kind of a neat little thing. So that's a review of the tops. So let's take a look at the difference in the weights. So if you were to hold both cups in your hand, I would say the Yeti feels slightly heavier than the RTIC, but let's take an exact measurement. So the RTIC comes in around 14.3-ish ounces, and the Yeti comes in around 16.1. So roughly a 2-ounce difference. Probably enough to get you killed in a drug deal, but not enough to notice in everyday use. So we just went through a bunch of the pros and cons, and as you can see, they perform very similar. Now, if I had to choose my favorite, I mean, I go with the Yeti only because of the cup holder. I mostly use this in the car, so it fits perfectly inside my cup holder. For me personally, that's a big difference. Now, if I had to buy extra ones for my house, or for whatever reason, I would definitely buy RTIC. They're $20, they're half the price. So if I had to buy extra ones, I would buy RTIC every day. Now, for me, just because I recommend if you have a Yeti, and you want to have that splash-proof lid, for $5, you can put the RTIC lid on top, and now you have a splash-proof Yeti, which is fantastic. So I'm going to let you guys decide which one works best for you. Thanks again, and have a good one.